Vidíme, nacházíme se v nejsložitější hospodářské situaci v novodobých dějinách České republiky.
No, bojíme se a čím bude větší zima, tím to bude pro všechny horší.
Volíme SPD, protože tato vláda s energetickou krizí neudělá nic.
Mít rád svoji zemi, být vlastenec, není rasismus a xenofobie.
Policie!
At first glance, it doesn't seem like the Czech Republic is going through a crisis. Yet, even here in Prague, the soaring cost of living is pushing more and more people into poverty. I'm here to meet those most affected by this issue and understand why it is sowing the seeds of discontent across the country. This is Stefan, a 9-month-old baby still discovering his new toys. His mother, Vera, recently left her apartment and moved into a social housing for single mothers. Unemployed, she says she just couldn't afford to pay her bills anymore.
Tak já jsem žila v Praze jakože dlouhodobě, no ale prostě teďkom, jak ty ceny vzrostly a tak dál, jsem se dostala do téhle situace, že jednoducho placení normálního nájmu a vyplacení prostě těch potravin a základních věcí pro malého by bylo pro nás neúnosné. Tak jsme museli prostě zvolit bydlení v azylovém domě.
And Vera is far from the only one in this situation. An increasing number of vulnerable groups have a hard time making ends meet because of inflation. Desider, who is living on a pension of 500 euros per month, worries about the coming winter and about his next heating bills.
Takže loňský rok jsme platili 5000 korun zálohy. Zvedli nám to od října tohoto roku na 6,5 tisíce a ještě máme doplácet 21 170 korun. No, bojíme se a to se nebudu bát jenom já, to se bude bát půl národu. Čím bude větší zima, tím to bude pro všechny horší a lidi nebudou mít čím topit, protože tohle je narychlo. Dřevo není, brikety nejsou, všecko se musí schánět. Je to problém.
The Czech Republic is one of Central Europe's most thriving economies, but the crisis with Moscow exposed its heavy reliance on Russian gas. This has affected the country's entire energy sector, including gas and electricity, and helped fuel a 17% increase in the cost of living, one of the highest annual inflation rates in the European Union. It's not just citizens who are feeling the crisis, businesses are also struggling, and I'm now driving to the northern part of the Czech Republic to meet one. I have a meeting scheduled with the owner of a 300-years-old establishment. What they make has become a worldwide symbol of Czech art and excellence, glass.
Gas is extremely important for our production because both of our furnaces are powered by gas. Last year, the cost of gas for us represented about 10% of our total cost. But this year, the energy already takes more than 50% of the total costs of our products. So, for example, our consumption in August was almost the same as it was last year, but our gas bill is 10 times higher. If this continues to go on, we would definitely have to decrease the number of our employees. We provide paychecks to about 100 families. I know all the people in the factory personally, so for me it's also a personal issue. Releasing some of the employees would be dreadful.
Since the beginning of September, thousands of worried Czechs have taken to the streets asking for the government's resignation, slamming the European Union and NATO, and calling for a gas deal with Russia. In response, the center-right coalition government, headed by Petr Fiala, accused the protesters of being manipulated by pro-Russian forces, a heavy accusation in a country still traumatized by the Soviet repression of the Prague Spring in 1968. A few days later, the Prime Minister announced new measures in a televised address to the nation.
Vláda tento týden přistoupila k mimořádnému rozhodnutí,
a zastropovala ceny energií pro domácnosti, pro živnostníky a malé a střední firmy. Ale také pro poskytovatele veřejných služeb, jako jsou nemocnice, školy nebo sociální ústavy.
Many Czechs are unconvinced to get through the winter, and despite its toll on the environment, residents and energy companies plan to burn more coal, which already heats a quarter of homes nationwide and generates nearly half of the country's electricity. The energy issue rapidly became the dominant theme in the municipal elections that were held at the end of September. With the government accused of not doing enough and the main opposition leader Andrej Babiš facing charges of fraud, another party campaigning for direct gas negotiations with Moscow has been steadily rising in the polls, the far-right Freedom and Direct Democracy Party, or SPD.
Volím SPD, protože tato vláda s energetickou krizí neudělá nic. SPD by nám určitě pomohlo.
After unsuccessfully trying to get an interview with SPD leader Tomio Okamura, I tried my luck at one of his campaign rallies. Here again, Okamura continued to ignore my requests.
Mr. Okamura, could I ask you a few questions for Euronews, please? Sir, I've been trying to reach you.
It was then that I witnessed an unusual event.
Mind if we ask you a few questions?
Děkuju. No tak to je hezký teda.
The activist later told the media that her pie attack was a way to denounce, quote, the hatred and politics of fear of Okamura.
Muslimové v muslimské zemi a my Evropané v Evropě.
Tomio Okamura is a close ally of Marine Le Pen and other European far-right figures. He is known for his staunch nationalism, his provocative remarks against Muslims, as well as for his opposition to European Union membership and to multiculturalism. Born in Japan to a Japanese father and a Czech mother, he claims to have always suffered from racism because of his mixed origins, but is now the one accused by his opponents of spreading xenophobic messages. I addressed this issue with him when he finally agreed to an interview.
Look my face. I am mix. I am mix Japanese and the Czech. Já musím opravdu odmítnout tyto špinavé nálepky od politické konkurence a od zmanipulovaných novinářů, kteří právě protože podporují tu migrační politiku Evropské unie, s kterou já zásadně nesouhlasím, protože to je ohrožení bezpečnosti Evropy, takže to překlopují do nějakého rasismu a xenofobie. My milujeme Evropu, my jsme pro Evropu, naopak Evropská unie je proti Evropě, proti budoucnosti Evropě. Podívejte se na tu migraci, podívejte se na tu neschopnost pomoct lidem v krizi, v energetické krizi, zdravotní pomůcky v době covidu, kdy v podstatě k čemu je partner, který v krizi nepomůže.
The municipal elections proved the rising popularity of the SPD, which tripled the number of its local mandates nationwide. After the successes of the far right in Italy and Sweden, the case of the Czech Republic is perhaps a harbinger of the political shift caused by these difficult times. It reveals how the energy crisis and inflation can fuel social unrest, and it's a reminder that small businesses and vulnerable citizens are the first victims of geopolitical and economic upheavals.
Takže jak budete topit tuhletu zimu takhle?
Tuhle zimu budu topit jenom dřevem anebo dřevěnýma briketama, nebo jak to půjde. Jinak nemáme jinou možnost. Já z důchodu si nemůžu dovolit platit takovéhle nehorázné částky. Jak tohle bude pokračovat dál, ale půl republiky na tom jít nebude. To už teď je špatný. Lidi budou topit čím půjde. Budou topit i gumama. Takhle to dopadne. Protože je to nehorázný.
In the situation where we are now, we are not able to live for much longer, but our hope is that this situation as it is, it cannot last. There must be an end, and so that we will be able to continue making these beautiful products and pass the tradition maybe to the next generation and do it for another few hundred years.